You're tuned in to Sinister Shadows, where forgotten broadcasts resurface, strange signals bleed through the static, and the stories don't always stay fiction. If you found this channel, it's not by accident. Something brought you here. So settle in, stay quiet, and listen closely. What you're about to hear might sound like a story, but some shadows speak the truth. If I'm being honest, I only took this job because it paid in cash and didn't ask a lot of questions. Nightcare. That's what it said on the faded sign above the door. Not childcare, not daycare. Nightcare. Big difference. When I pulled into the cracked parking lot at 11:47 p.m., my first thought was this building should have been condemned back in the 80s. My second thought was, I hope this isn't a front for something worse than it already looks. I was wrong on both counts. "This is your stop," said the driver. I didn't remember calling a cab, but there it was. I stepped out. The car drove off without headlights. The receptionist greeted me through a slot in what looked like bulletproof glass. "New hire?" "Yeah. First night." She slid me a clipboard with a sign-in sheet and a badge that said temporary meet. "Cute," I said. "We're legally required to tell you the children are not human, and the liability waiver voids any claims regarding injury, death, transformation, or absorption." "Absorption?" She slid me a pen without blinking. The tour was short. There wasn't much to see. One long hallway of doors, each painted a different unpleasant color. Murky green, arterial red, bruise purple. Faded scrawls of Room 1A, Infant Draculas, or Room 3. C, slime-based entities, containment necessary. "This one's the break room," said the receptionist, now my supervisor. "Coffee's cursed, vending machines haunted. Do not touch the mop." I glanced. The mop sat alone in the corner, its handle crooked, a dark smear trailing beneath it like an oil slick. The janitor nodded at me from under a pulled-down ball cap. His eyes didn't look right. Midnight hit. My shift officially began. I was stationed in Room 2B. Assorted cryptids, ages 2 to 5. Inside, chaos. Pure, shrieking, hissing chaos. One of the kids had too many legs and used them all at once. Another floated upside down, eyes black as ink, mouth whispering secrets to the ceiling tiles. A third, little werewolf maybe, had shredded its blanket and was now chewing on a chair leg like a chew toy. "Lights out in 15 minutes, I announced. A pterodactyl-sounding screech came from the crib in the back. "Understood," I said. "You get used to monster kids fast. They don't listen. They don't care about timeouts. They don't recognize authority unless you assert dominance via ancient blood right or goldfish crackers. But they do nap eventually." By 2:17 a.m., the room had settled. I walked the halls for a breather. That's when I noticed it. One of the hallway doors was wrong. I couldn't tell you why. Maybe because it wasn't labeled like the others. Maybe because it wasn't there when I started my shift. Just a black door. No handle. No hinges. It pulsed faintly, like it was breathing. "Don't stare too long," said the janitor as he wheeled his mop past. "It notices." "What is it?" "Nothing to do with you. Not yet." I didn't ask follow-up questions. I'd been warned about asking questions. 3:33 a.m., the witching hour. Or something close enough. The cameras fizzled for a moment, flickered back on. One of the cryptid kids, the floating one, was no longer floating. Or in their crib. Or anywhere visible. "You gotta be kidding me," I muttered. I checked under beds, behind toy chests, inside ventilation ducts. Why are the vents big enough for something to crawl through? Don't ask. Nothing. Then I heard it. Scratch. 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 From inside the walls. From behind the wrong door. I found the janitor again near the break room. "Lose one already?" he asked. "You don't sound surprised." "This place eats things. Sometimes spits them back out. sometimes not. Shouldn't we, I don't know, tell management? He laughed. Laughed so hard he coughed up something that slithered away. You are management tonight, Temp. He pushed his mop onward. The dark streak widened behind him. 4 a.m. The floating kid reappeared. In the crib. Smiling. Eyes still black. I swear they winked at me. All the cameras showed them never having left. 6 a.m. Parents began arriving. Not through doors. Through shadows. Through mirrors. One came up from the floorboards in a tailored suit, plucked his leech-faced child from a bassinet, and vanished with a polite nod. My boss showed up last. You survived, good. Clock out. Back tomorrow? I stared at her. She stared at me, blinked sideways like a lizard. Yeah, I sighed. I'll be back. Outside, the sun tried to rise, failed halfway. I got in my car. I checked my rearview mirror. The floating kid was waving from the back seat. Night 2 started with me almost quitting. Not because of the floating kid in the back seat. I solved that problem by bribing them with a juice box and telling them if they wanted to ride to work with me again, they had to stop whispering to my engine block. Seemed fair. No. I almost quit, because when I clocked in, the front door wasn't a door anymore. It was a mouth. Big. Wooden. Rows of teeth where the frame should have been. A tongue like wet carpet hanging out where the doorknob used to be. Yeah, it does that sometimes. My supervisor yawned. Just go through. Don't make eye contact. Eye contact with a door? Whatever. I needed rent money. I walked through. It gagged. I got slime on my jacket. Welcome to Nightcare. Tonight's assignment, Room 4. D. Variable Anatomy, Toddlers. Translation, Shapeshifters, Hybrids. Kids who hadn't figured out what face they wanted to wear yet. First kid I saw had 3 heads. Only one of them cried. The second just sort of hummed. The third said, "You shouldn't have come back." Probably a phase. Another kid was a literal puddle with eyes floating in it. I put a foam pool noodle next to it for enrichment. That seemed to help. One little girl looked totally normal. Pink pigtails, cute dress. Until I blinked. Then she had antlers and hooves. Blinked again. Back to normal. Her name's Sadie, said the night logbook. Her forms vary depending on mood. Or hunger. Great. Love that for me. Halfway through snack time, Sadie bit me. Not hard. Not angry. Just curious, maybe. Testing the meat. When she pulled back, there was a perfect little row of sharp teeth imprinted on my forearm. Her eyes blinked sideways like shutters clicking open to take a picture of my soul. Boundaries, I told her. She giggled and turned into a chair for 20 minutes. I went to the break room for a breather. The vending machine tried to eat my hand again. I settled for fridge coffee. Problem. The fridge was humming. Loudly. I opened it. Bad choice. Inside wasn't food. Not anymore. Inside was a corridor. A long, dripping hallway of meat and bone stretching away into darkness. I saw something crawling toward me. Pale. Thin. Smiling too wide. It looked like it wanted out. I slammed the door shut, wrote DONOTOPEN on it in permanent marker. Underlined it twice. When I turned around, the janitor was watching me. Told you not to touch the fridge. I didn't. He wheeled his mop away. That dark streak behind it was starting to look thicker tonight. 2:30 a.m. I checked the cams. Sadie wasn't in her crib. Neither was the puddle child, or the 3-headed screamer. Not again, I groaned. Checked the halls. Empty. Except for the black door. Same one from last night. Still no handle. Still pulsing faintly. And from the gap at its base. Puddles. Little wet footprints. Leading right to it. 3 a.m. I found the kids. In the break room. Standing in a circle. Chanting. Sadie had grown antlers again. Puddle Kid was forming vague limbs. The 3 heads were humming in harmony now. Some weird droning sound that made the vending machine vibrate. Above them, the ceiling bulged outward, like something pressing from the other side. A handprint emerged. Then a second. Long fingers, wrong angles. "All right, bedtime's over," I said, because I'm a professional. I herded them back to 4D with minimal screaming. Mine. They went willingly, smiling. Too willingly. The black door pulsed brighter as I passed. 4:04 a.m. Sadie sat up in her crib, still grinning. "You've been marked now," she said sweetly. "For what?" "Ownership." Puddle Kid gurgled approval. The camera feed went static for 10 seconds. When it came back, all the kids were asleep. Sadie had turned into a rocking horse. I don't know why. 5 a.m. Final rounds. Quiet. Too quiet. Even the fridge had stopped humming. I dared to open it again. Just regular fridge stuff now. Half a sandwich, bottled water, one disembodied hand giving me a thumbs up. Progress? 6 a.m. Parents came. Shadows. Mist. One emerged from under the mop bucket. Don't ask. The three-headed kid's mom had 7 heads. Made sense. Sadie's parent wasn't a person. It was a shape. Tall, wrapped in veils of teeth and smoke. It nodded at me. I felt something tighten in my chest, like a contract being signed without my consent. "You've been accepted," it whispered. "Congratulations." Sadie waved, blinked sideways again. Gone. My boss signed my time card. "You're adjusting well. See you tomorrow?" "Sure, why not?" I said, because after tonight, I don't think anywhere else would hire me. I swore I wasn't coming back for a third night. I said it to myself in the mirror, out loud, firmly. But when 11:47 p.m. rolled around, I found myself clocking in anyway. Call it bad luck. Call it brain damage from inhaling too many fumes in the break room. Call it Sadie's weird little teeth mark on my arm still itching like it meant something. Either way, I was here. Again. The front door didn't try to bite me this time. Progress? Tonight's assignment. Room 1A. Mixed entities. High risk. Containment recommended. They really know how to sell the fun around here. The kids were already waiting for me when I opened the door. All 6 of them. All staring. All smiling. Too many teeth between them. I checked the roster. Floating mask. Answers to Benny. Crawling mass of hair. Answers to Noodles. Girl with mouths on hands. Answers to June. 2 twins. Share a body. Hate each other. Stanley. Description? You ever read something and immediately regret it? Yeah. First hour went fine. Fine being relative. June tried to high-five me, but her hand-mouth bit instead. Benny floated into the light fixtures again. Noodles got stuck in a vent. Standard night. I could handle it. Until I did a head count at 1:30 a.m. 1 missing. Stanley. Now here's the thing about Stanley. No one's really sure what Stanley is. Some shifts, he's there. Some, he's not. Sometimes he's a shadow under a cot. Sometimes he's a shape in the corner of your eye. Tonight, apparently, Stanley was missing. Not on the cams. Not in the vents. Not even on the other side of the black door. Yes, I checked. From a safe distance. "Stanley?" I called down the hallway. My own voice sounded wrong, bouncing back at me. Not an echo. Not quite. The janitor passed, pushing his mop. "Lose one?" "Yeah. Might want to check places that aren't technically here." "What does that mean?" He just wheeled on, leaving that black smear trailing after him. Thanks for nothing. 2 a.m. Things got worse. The break room TV turned itself on. Static. Flicker. Something moving behind the screen. I watched for too long. I saw something like a face. "My sing!" it hissed. I unplugged the TV. The fridge opened itself again. I left. Back in 1A, Benny was drawing on the walls with what looked suspiciously like blood. I confiscated his crayon. "Where's Stanley?" Benny pointed up, not the ceiling, beyond it. somewhere higher than the building went. The twins giggled. "Stanley doesn't get lost," said left head. "He gets found," said right head. "Helpful." June clapped her mouth hands. "You'll see soon." Noodles burbled in agreement from under the crib. 2:45 a.m. I checked the cams again. One showed Stanley standing in the center of the parking lot, smiling, waving, except I was just in the parking lot, and Stanley wasn't there. I looked closer. The timestamp read tomorrow, 3:13 a.m. I did not like that, not one bit. 3:13 a.m. came fast. The lights flickered. Something unlocked itself somewhere down the hall. The black door was wide open, not ajar. Open. Inside wasn't a room. It was wrong. Darkness, moving in ways it shouldn't. Shapes forming and unforming. Whispers climbing out of nowhere, slithering along my skin like cold breath. And standing in the middle of it was Stanley, grinning like a happy little nightmare. He waved. Then he stepped forward, out of the wrongness, back into the hall. Like it was no big deal. The black door shut itself behind him. "You weren't supposed to do that," I told him. Stanley just giggled. But it was fun. I marched him back to 1A. Benny clapped. Noodles cheered. June's hand mouths licked the air in celebration. The twins just whispered in unison, "Now you're Mark too." I checked my arm. New teeth marks. Smaller than Sadie's. Fresh. Bleeding a little. Great. 5 a.m. Things calmed down. Cameras back to normal. Kids. Mostly asleep. Stanley under a cot again, like nothing happened. I passed the janitor in the hall. "Find your kid?" "Yeah." He nodded. "Told you. Some places ain't technically here. Some kids neither." He mopped onward. That black streak pulsed. I swear it pulsed. 6 a.m. Parents showed up. Benny's floated out the exit sign. June's climbed out through the vents. Noodles was scooped into a burlap sack by a hand with too many fingers. The twins were picked up by something that wore faces like jewelry. Stanley just vanished. Supervisor smiled. "Another successful night." I showed her the bite. "Oh good. That means they like you." "Why am I still here?" "Because they want you here." She tapped her badge. It didn't say staff. It said offering. I didn't ask more questions. 4th night. By this point, I'd stopped telling myself I was going to quit. Whatever hold this place had on me, whether it was supernatural, contractual, or just the crushing weight of late capitalism, I was here. Again. The receptionist smiled as I clocked in. "Back so soon? Temporary meet?" "It's starting to feel pretty permanent." "That's the spirit." She stamped my time card. The ink bled a little. Looked like a mouth this time. Might have been a coincidence. Probably wasn't. Tonight's assignment. Floating coverage. Basically, I wandered between rooms, making sure none of the little freaks ate each other or escaped into dimensions that weren't covered by our insurance. Room 2B was quiet. Room 4D was unsettlingly empty. Room 3C, the slime entities, were multiplying. Fast. "Leave 'em alone," the janitor advised as he wheeled past, mop dragging its usual dark streak. "Slime's harmless until it's not." "How do I know when it's not?" I asked. "You'll know." Helpful as always. 1 a.m. The lights began to fail. First it was the hallway by 2B. Flickering, fading, then out entirely. A dark smear across the monitors. Then room 3C. The slime stopped multiplying. They started retreating, hiding in corners, trembling, if amorphous blobs can do that. I stepped into the hall. The dark wasn't normal. It wasn't absence of light. It was eating it. Wherever the shadow stretched, the lights above frizzled and popped. My flashlight barely worked. The beam cut maybe a foot ahead before the darkness swallowed it whole. And in the dark, something moved. Not fast, not loud, just waiting. 1:45 a.m. The kids noticed too, even the ones without eyes. Benny, the floating mask, floated higher, wedging himself into a ceiling corner and refusing to come down. June's handmouths gnawed the crib bars nervously. The twins spoke backwards, low and fast like prayers or warnings. And Stanley? Gone again. Of course. 2:10 a.m. I watched the cameras. I shouldn't have. In every room, in every corner where the dark pooled thickest, something was looking back. Eyes, faces, shapes pressed against the thin veil of light we had left? Couldn't say. The monitors glitched. Static warped into teeth. Something whispered through the speakers. Not words. Not yet. Just hunger. 2:30 a.m. I found the janitor standing still in the hallway. Mop planted, eyes on the dark, creeping toward his feet. "You seen Stanley?" I asked, more out of habit than hope. He didn't look at me. "They ain't after Stanley tonight." "Then who?" "You should run." His voice didn't sound like his voice anymore. Behind him, the dark smiled, or something shaped like a smile opened wide beneath it. I took his advice. 3 a.m. The kids gathered in room 1A without me telling them. Benny floated. Noodles quivered. June wept ink. The twins spoke in spirals of nonsense. Even Sadie showed up. Antlers sharp, eyes wrong, grin wide. "You made it," she said, sweet as rotten fruit. "What's going on?" "The dark's hungry." "For what?" "Who?" Her eyes flicked to me. 3:13 a.m. Lights gone in every hall. Only room 1A held steady, a weak flickering bulb overhead. The dark pressed at the glass. Something knocked. Not on the door. On the light itself. I held the kids close. They didn't fight me. Not this time. Through the darkness, something stepped forward. Slowly. Tall. Thin. Wearing shapes like clothes. Faces like masks. Not quite human. Not quite monster. Something old. Something hungry. It pointed at me. "You're marked," it said. "You're owed." The kids hissed, clawed, bit. The twins spat words older than time. Benny shrieked through a mouth he wasn't supposed to have. The thing laughed. Next night, then. It melted back into the dark. The lights flickered back on. The shadows retreated. For now. 4 a.m. Kids asleep. Sort of. Resting, at least. Sadie curled into something with too many limbs. Benny nestled in the corner, humming static. I checked my arm. New bite marks. Deep this time. Not from the kids. From something else. 5 a.m. Break room. Coffee machine spat out black sludge. Vending machine blinked "help me" in its digital readout. Fridge quietly vibrated. The janitor passed. Still breathing? Barely. He nodded like that was the right answer. "They won't get you. Yet." "That's comforting." "Ain't meant to be." He wheeled on. That mop dragged something wet and black and almost alive behind it. 6 a.m. Parents came. One through the floor, one through the ceiling, one through the walls themselves, peeling open reality like wet paper. They took their kids, left. Stains. Marks. Warnings. Sadie lingered. "You're not ready yet," she said. "But you will be." "For what?" "For them." She pointed at the ceiling. Or through it. When I looked, the dark smiled again. Supervisor stamped my time card. "You're adjusting wonderfully. Ready for another night?" I didn't answer. Didn't need to. The mark on my arm burned hot, like saying yes without asking me. I stopped looking at myself in mirrors after night 4. Not out of some newfound superstition. It's just... My reflection stopped matching me. First it was little things. Blinked when I didn't. Smiled when I wasn't. Shadow stretched too long behind it. Then it started mouthing words I hadn't said. Soon. Almost ready. Not yours anymore. So yeah. No more mirrors. Night 5. 11:47 p.m. I clocked in. My badge no longer said temporary meet. It didn't say anything at all. Just a blank rectangle. cold to the touch. "Good to see you're settling in," the receptionist purred. "Settling is generous. You'll feel more like yourself soon enough." She smiled, too wide, too many teeth. "Tonight's assignment, back rotations, not listed on the schedule. Not listed anywhere, actually. My supervisor just handed me a keyring with labels I couldn't read and said, 'Check the sub-levels. Watch for bleed.'" "Bleed?" Didn't ask. The sub-levels weren't on the blueprints. Didn't surprise me. Nightcare's geometry stopped making sense 2 shifts ago. Elevator ride lasted too long. Longer than the building was tall. Lights flickered the whole way down. Somewhere between floors, I swear, I heard something breathe. Door opened. No hallway, just a room. White walls, wet tiles, mirrors everywhere, figures pressed against the glass. Some looked like me, some didn't. Some looked like who I used to be. One of them smiled and pointed. I turned. There wasn't a door behind me anymore. 1 a.m. found my way out. Sort of. The hallway beyond wasn't numbered. Just stretched, long and hungry, flickering lights that weren't really lights. I passed doors, labeled things like incubation, failure, storage, mirror pool. Something behind one whispered, "You're almost ready." Almost ready for what? 1:30 a.m. I found room X. Inside, a crib. Inside the crib, me. Or something shaped like me. Small, shrinking. Skin like paper, eyes like pits of ink. It smiled when it saw me, a mouth full of teeth that weren't human. "You left me behind," it said in my voice. "No, You forgot me. You replaced me. You'll take me back." It climbed from the crib, grew as it walked, taller, sharper, wearing my face, wearing it wrong. 2 a.m. It chased me through the halls, not fast, not loud, just steady, patient, knowing I'd run out of places to go. Every reflective surface showed its grin. Every shadow stretched its arms toward me. "You were marked," it whispered. "You're owed." 2:30 a.m. Back to the kids. They'd noticed. Benny floated higher than ever, hiding in the corner like a terrified balloon. June's mouth hands covered her eyes. The twins sang a song in reverse. Sadie sat calmly, smiling, antlers gleaming. "It found you," she said. "It wears you now. How do I stop it?" "You don't. Then what do I do?" "Last long enough to learn why." She offered me a crayon. It wasn't wax. It pulsed. I took it. Drew a door. The wall opened. 3 a.m. Inside the door, darkness. Deeper than before. The black door. The wrong place. The heart of Nightcare. I walked. I didn't have a choice. The mark on my arm burned hotter with every step. It waited there. My face. My shape. My smile. "Trade," it said. "For what?" I asked. "To keep them safe." Behind it, I saw the kids, crying, hiding, shadows creeping closer. "I'm not ready," I said. "It doesn't matter." 3:33 a.m. We fought, sort of. I hit it. It laughed, it hit me. I bled something that wasn't blood anymore. We traded faces, voices. For a moment, I couldn't tell which of us was real, but Sadie's crayon burned in my hand. I drew a line between us, a line it couldn't cross. "You're learning," it said. "Good." It stepped back into the dark, melted away. The lights came on. The kids exhaled. 4 a.m. Checked my reflection. Still me. Mostly. Smile wasn't mine, though. Not anymore. 5 a.m. Break room. Coffee spat teeth. Vending machine read, "Congratulations this time." Fridge stayed shut. The janitor mopped past. "See it yet?" "See what?" "What's wearing your skin?" I handled it. For now. He wheeled on. 6 a.m. Parents came. Through cracks. Through doors. Through holes in sense and reason. They took their kids. Left their shadows behind. Sadie lingered. "You're getting closer," she said. "Soon you'll see it all." "See what?" She just smiled. Home. Supervisor stamped my card. Blank ink bled into shapes I didn't want to read. "Ready for another?" she asked. My mark burned, yes. By the 6th night, I stopped pretending I didn't belong here. I didn't recognize my own handwriting on the sign-in sheet anymore. Didn't recognize my reflection either, though it was getting better at mimicking me, smiling at the right times, tilting its head when I was thinking, practicing. The receptionist didn't speak this time, just slid me a time card already stamped. Stamped in something wet. I took it anyway. Assignment, containment duty, all wings, simple on paper, check rooms, count heads, seal anything leaking reality. Reality had been leaking since night 2. Now it was pouring. 1 a.m. Room 3C, the slimes, were gone. Left behind puddles shaped like hands reaching for the ceiling. Room 2B, cryptids. Silent. Too silent. Benny floated in a corner, torn halfway between this plane and the next, his mask cracked down the middle. The twins huddled together for once, whispering not to each other, but to something under the bed, something breathing. June's hands covered her own face, mouths sewn shut, crying black ink through the stitches. She wasn't the only one crying. The shadows came back, worse this time, not creeping, hunting. They didn't just eat light anymore. They ate sound, ate warmth, ate gravity. Where they passed, walls peeled like scabs. Doors wept. Clocks spun backward until they stopped working altogether. 2 a.m. The black door stood open, waiting. No hinges, no frame, just void, bleeding into the hallways, gnawing at the floors. Something stepped out. Not my face this time. Not wearing me. Something taller, older, wearing faces like jewelry, wearing names like coats. "You were marked," it said. "You are owed." Behind it, the shape of the building twisted. Nightcare unspooled into impossible geometry, staircases folding into themselves, windows looking into places where things watched without eyes. The kids screamed, even Sadie, especially Sadie. 3 a.m. I gathered them in room 1A. All of them, even the missing ones, even the ones I thought weren't real. They clung to me. Benny's mask cracked fully open to reveal nothing but teeth beneath. Noodles coiled tighter, hiding her face in the hollow of my chest. The twins shook in perfect rhythm. Sadie sat in my lap, too small suddenly, too scared. "The dark's not playing anymore," she whispered. "It's feeding." Lights went. Walls buckled. The floor beneath room 1A peeled away like wet paper. Beneath it, nothing. Beneath that, teeth. I drew the crayon door again. This time it bled when I pressed it to the wall. This time it screamed when it opened. I pulled them through. All of them. Even the ones who didn't want to come. 3:33 a.m. Somewhere else. Nowhere. Between things. They huddled together in the dark. Tiny monster children. Crying like children cry. Terrified, shaking, needing someone to tell them it would be okay. Even if it wouldn't. I told them anyway. That's when it found us. Not a shadow this time. Not a shape. Not wearing anyone's face. Just hunger. Raw and loud and old. It slithered through the cracks in nowhere. Through Sadie's tears. Through Benny's broken grin. Through Noodles' shaking limbs. Through me. It wanted us all. Not to kill. Not to hurt. To keep. To own. "You're not ready," it said. "But you will be." 4 a.m. I stood up between it and them. Not brave, not heroic, just tired. "You can't have them," I said. "Not tonight. They are marked." "So am I." I held up my arm. The bite glowed like a wound still healing. "You owe me too." It paused, curious, listening. I drew another door. Bigger this time, messier, with Sadie's crayon, still pulsing, still alive. Through it I pulled light. Not normal light. Something brighter, older, hungrier than the dark. It didn't scream. Not really. It just retreated. Back through cracks. Back through teeth. Back into the black door. 5 a.m. We woke up in room 1A. All of us. Safe. For now. Sadie hugged me. You're learning, she said. You're getting closer. To what? To home. Benny floated down. Noodles burbled something like thank you. June wept ink in relief. Even the twins smiled. 6 a.m. parents came. Carefully, slowly, as if sniffing the air for traps. They looked at me differently now. Less like a worker, more like something else. Something they recognized. Sadie's parent, the shape of teeth and veils, bowed low. You kept them safe. You've been noticed. Great. Just what I needed. Supervisor stamped my card. You've survived longer than most. How many nights are there? As many as it takes. My mark burned yes. 7th night. I didn't clock in this time. The receptionist wasn't there. The sign-in sheet bled quietly onto the counter in my absence. My badge burned in my pocket like a second heartbeat. The doors weren't doors anymore. They opened when I looked at them. They closed when I wasn't watching. I walked the halls like I belonged. Because I did. Because I had nowhere else. Assignment. None listed. None needed. I went straight to room 1A. The kids were waiting. All of them. Sadie with her antlers. Benny floating in slow, cautious circles. June hiding her stitched-shut hand mouths behind her knees. Noodles coiled tight around a trembling security blanket. The twins holding hands for once. Silent for once. They didn't look scared anymore. Just sad. You're ready now, Sadie said. For what? I asked. To stay. 1 a.m. The lights died for good. Not flickered, not dimmed. Died. The halls stretched longer. The rooms folded in on themselves. Ceilings peeled away into black sky. Floors cracked to show teeth beneath, yawning wide in hunger. The black door wasn't in one place anymore. It was everywhere. Every corner, every reflection, every breath. Watching. Waiting. You were marked, it said from behind my eyes. You are owed. 2 a.m. The shadows returned. They weren't hunting this time. They were here to collect. They moved through the daycare in thick, pulsing waves, swallowed rooms whole. 8 sound, 8 color, 8 possibility. The janitor passed me in the dark, mop dragging black that didn't stop at the floor anymore. You understand now? He asked. I think so. They want you because you stayed. They keep the ones who stay. What happens to the ones who leave? He smiled without teeth. There's no leaving. He walked on, melted into the dark. 3 a.m. I gathered the kids again. One last time. We sat in a circle on the floor while the walls peeled and the ceiling bled sky. Benny hummed a song with no melody. June rocked in place, her hands gnawing themselves beneath the stitches. Noodles drew shapes in her own puddle that flickered with stars. The twins whispered, It's almost over. It's almost begun. Sadie leaned against me, smaller now, fragile. You can keep us safe, she said. If you want to. I do. Then stay. 3:33 a.m. The thing stepped through the black door. Not a shadow now, not a shape, not wearing faces or names, just hunger, ancient and vast and final. It pointed at me. You understand now. You are marked. You are owed. I'm not leaving them. You aren't leaving at all. It smiled. I smiled back, pulled out Sadie's crayon, drew a door beneath us, bigger this time, bright, loud, alive. Through it, I pulled the light again, not to fight this time, to build. 4 a.m. The daycare collapsed into itself, folded like paper, burned like memory, sank like teeth into nothing. But where we stood, the kids, me, the crayon, there was still light, still warmth, still safety. I drew walls. I drew rooms. I drew doors that only opened when we said so. I drew dawn. 5 a.m. The kids slept. Peaceful for once. No tears, no whispers, no fear. The mark on my arm faded. Not gone, but quiet, like a debt paid. The janitor appeared one last time, Mop clean for once. Built your own place, huh? Had to. He nodded. Good. Stay here. Watch them. Keep them safe. I was planning on it. Then this is the last time we meet. He smiled. Walked into a door I didn't draw. 6 a.m. No parents came. Not this time. No shapes and shadows. No monsters through walls. Just me. Just them. A place between places. Safe. Ours. Sadie woke first. Smiled. You did it. What did I do? You made it home. Benny floated down beside us. June curled up closer. Noodles burbled quietly in her sleep. The twins held hands without fear. I didn't need to ask what would come next. This was it. Not escape. Not survival. Belonging. Somewhere outside the dark still waited. Still hungered. Still called. But not for us. Not anymore. We had our own place now. Nightcare. Always open. Always watching. But no longer afraid.